Right. So obviously, you know the nature of my channel. You
I
know what
do.
we talk about quite a bit. We already touched on the topic already, uh, but obviously, this question that keeps getting asked and is it's never going to be enough. How much does size actually matter? I'm not going to say does it matter or doesn't, because obviously it does to some extent,
Yeah.
but how much does it matter?
Before I answer, I'm curious, like, would that be the most common question that you get asked?
Um, I think that's the kind of question that most guys that have an average sized penis would like to hear an answer to.
Yeah.
Although I'm not sure if they're gonna believe the answer, because it's been asked a billion times, but still doesn't hurt to get your opinion on it.
No, I'm very, very happy to speak about this. I'm gonna first give you guys a little story. So this is like a former partner of mine, and we're chatting about sex and about the size. And he says, like, yeah, women, like, the bigger the better for women. And I'm like, no. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm a woman. I am telling you no. It's like, why are you trying to override what I am saying? And it was almost like an argument. I'm like, as a woman, I am telling you this is not the case. But he was stubborn. No, it matters. The bigger, the better. So that was like many, many years ago before I even got into this work. But that story stayed with me because I was just thinking, like, why is it so hard for men to believe when a woman says that this is not true, that the bigger the better? Where does it come from? And like you said, will people believe the answer? Because I think men really hope to hear that size doesn't matter, but they've been conditioned so much that it does, that it's hard for them to receive any other feedback. It's sort of like women, yeah, you don't have to have the biggest boobs and you're still going to be attractive, and yet still women go and get plastic surgery. So I think there's definitely a lot of work to be done in that area, just to, it's not to sugarcoat anything, but let's not go any extreme. So what matters the most is physical fit. Just like there are different
Right.
sizes of penises, there are different sizes of vaginas. There are long vaginas and short vaginas. So if she is long, or in fact, if she's longer than you are, then indeed you're not going to stimulate all of the vagina. You won't be able to hit the cervix. So there's some stimulation you won't be able to offer. So it's not going to feel as good to her. Now, you may also be too big for her, and then it's painful. There's nothing fun about that. So I've actually, in my personal and professional journey, I have had three lovers who were really, really big. And especially one of them was sharing with me later that it's not so much fun. He said he has to be very mindful with sex because he cannot let go and thrust fully. He always has to be mindful not to push too much. He also said that blowjobs are not as pleasant for him because basically hardly any woman is able to take it fully in. So he wasn't loving it. And
Hmm.
yeah, he was big, he wasn't loving it. And he was tantric, he was practicing open relationships. So he had many, many lovers, right? And still it was very rare for him to find a woman where they would be a physical match. So this can also happen. There is such a thing as being too big for a woman, not generally, but just for a woman. So that is true. Okay, so is it? It's not the bigger the better. Please, please, please. I don't know. Even if you don't fully believe me, just at least allow this to, like, take 20% of what I'm saying as potential truth. So that's number one. So number two, we're talking about this compatibility, making sure that her size and your size fit well. And so it doesn't have to be fully perfect. If you're like a little bit bigger than her, or just some, but actually in this case being a little bit smaller is better than being a bit too big, because again, if you're too big, you're gonna cause pain, and it can create contraction inside of her vagina, which can cause even trauma inside of her vagina and make it impossible for her to have an orgasm. So that's not fun. So it's
Yeah.
better to be rather a bit smaller than too big. But that's where really when it feels the best for both of you is when it's a good physical match. So I'll say this now. Yes, some women may feel that you are too small, and that's again regardless of like your objective size. But it's the same, like you guys have preferences with the physical look of a woman. Like some men, for example, want big inner lips. Some men don't like big inner lips. They want like small ones. And we know that women are getting plastic surgeries, cutting the lips because they want to look the way pussies look in porn. Women keep getting breast surgeries because, again, we believe that, men want big breasts because a lot of men do. But some of you guys listening, you actually may prefer smaller breasts. So just like you have different preferences, women also have different preferences when it comes to the size and the shape of a penis. But no matter how it looks, if it doesn't really do the right things, then it doesn't matter. Like ultimately, if you're not using your great cock in a great way, it's a wasted potential. And I'll go as far as this. So I don't know if you ever had a chance to sleep with like this objectively stunning woman. But something that these really beautiful, attractive people usually do is they're very lazy in bed because they think I'm so sexy, I'm so amazing, you should just be happy you're here. And you do all the
Yeah,
work and I'm just gonna lie down.
we call it
So,
starfish.
and it goes both ways, men and women do it. So
Right.
if you think about it, if there's any part of you that feels my cock isn't as great as I wish it was, can you please see the positive side of this is that this actually makes you want to be a better lover, such as listening to this video, watching the YouTube channel. Like some insecurities when we know that maybe I'm not as good as I would like to be in some aspect, especially if it's something maybe that I don't have as much space to change. It's not like, I can dye my hair blonde, right? So if it's something like nature gave you and you have a like in a way like a limited possibilities of working with that, then this makes you want to work harder to be a better lover, and as a consequence you become a better lover for her because now you actually care about her, you care about what she wants, and you're like, oh, maybe I'm not the biggest, so maybe there are other things I can do for her, and that turns you into a much better lover. So I think I've actually met a few guys who had like objectively really beautiful cock, very lazy lovers.
I heard that over and over again. But so